بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن عبد الله بن عمرو أن رجلا سأل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: أي الإسلام خير؟ قال: تطعم الطعام وتقرأ السلام على من عرفت ومن لم تعرف. حديث متفق عليه. Abdullah ibn Amr reports, a man asked the Prophet, which Islam is best? The Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, to feed the hungry and to greet with peace those you know and those you do not know. This hadith is graded muttafaqun alayhi, authenticity agreed upon according to Bukhari and Muslim. The narrator of this hadith is Abdullah ibn Amr. Abdullah ibn Amr is the biological father of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. Abdullah ibn Amr belongs to the Banu Salama clan of the Khazraj tribe of the Ansar of Medina. It is the same tribe that Mu'adh bin Jabal hails from. His own father's name was Amr bin Haram and his mother's name was Rubab bint Qais. It is said that Abdullah ibn Amr was about 40 years exactly before the migration. Abdullah ibn Amr took part in the second pledge of Aqaba, and he was among the 12 leaders of Medina who pledged Aqaba and were appointed as chiefs by the Prophet ﷺ. He also took part in the battles of Badr and Uhud and had Shahada at the Battle of Uhud. Indeed, Abdullah ibn Amr was the first of the Muslims in Uhud to be martyred. He was the first to be killed. He was killed by Sufyan bin Abd Shams, who killed him and dismembered him. He cut his nose and ears by way of revenge to show his enmity towards Islam. In one narration, during the Battle of Uhud, when Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, who was the leader of the hypocrites in Medina, rebelled, it was Abdullah ibn Amr who tried to advise him and those with him, and he fought them fiercely. Jabir ibn Abdullah himself says this, as recorded in Ibn Sa'd's Tabaqat al-Kubra, and Ibn Hajar recorded this in his Al-Isaba fi Tamyiz al-Sahaba. Jabir says, my father Abdullah ibn Amr and my maternal uncle were martyred during the Battle of Uhud. The maternal uncle was Amr ibn Jamuh, who was married to the sister of Abdullah ibn Amr, the father of Jabir ibn Abdullah. Jabir then says that when his father died, he was wrapped in a single sheet. The Prophet ﷺ would ask who knew the most of the Quran by memory. While the martyrs of Uhud were being buried, the Prophet ﷺ would inquire who knew the most of the Quran by memory until they buried them according to their rank of memorization. When it was the 10th of Abdullah ibn Amr, Rasulullah ﷺ, who led their funeral prayer, asked that Abdullah ibn Amr and Amr ibn Jamuh be buried in the same grave as they love each other and respect each other. So the Prophet ﷺ instructed that those who had a close bond in this world ought to be buried in the same grave. We ask Allah to accept their shahada. In this hadith, Abdullah ibn Amr shares with us an effortless way to attain reward as a Muslim. What sort of deed or qualities of Islam are good? As was asked, the Prophet ﷺ said to feed the poor. Feeding the poor is from the great charities, from the great acts of a Muslim, to feed the poor. Secondly, to greet those you know and those you do not know. It is from the bid'ah of our era that people only greet people they know by faces. Muslims only greet Muslims they know by faces. Yet, what is recommended as a Muslim is that whenever you meet a Muslim or a Muslimah, you say Salaam alaikum to them, whether you know them or you do not know them. May Allah grant us the strength to practice these simple sunan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.